This isn't just another WNBA matchup. This is a war between the Queens of Clutch and the Emperors of Execution. August 2nd, the Minnesota Lynx storm into Las Vegas to face the two-time defending champions, the Las Vegas Aces, in what could be the most explosive statement game of the season. The Aces, battle-tested and loaded with MVP firepower, look to reassert dominance after shaky midseason stretches. But the Lynx, they've risen from the ashes with ruthless intent, dismantling elite defenses and rewriting their own identity with every possession. Every dribble, every screen, every late-game possession, this one is a chess match soaked in gasoline. Whether you're chasing moneyline magic, digging deep into prop value, or loading up a +2000 same-game parlay built on live mismatches, this game has it all. And we're breaking it down like never before, quarter by quarter, number by number, angle by angle. In a game that promises intensity, strategic nuance, and playoff implications, the Minnesota Lynx are set to square off against the Las Vegas Aces in what could be a defining battle for both teams as the WNBA regular season winds into its most critical stretch. While the Aces have long been the juggernaut of the league, riding the core of A'ja Wilson, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, and Chelsea Gray, the Lynx have been among the league's most surprising contenders in 2025, riding a wave of gritty performances, emerging stars, and tactical resilience. The basketball community is eyeing this game not just for its spectacle, but for its implications across multiple layers of the standings, betting markets, and individual accolades. The Aces, entering the game with a 20-9 record, have dealt with injuries and fatigue but remain a top 3 team in offensive rating and points per game. Their ability to dominate the paint, stretch the floor, and control the tempo is evident in their 84.7 points per game, shooting 46.2% from the field and nearly 37% from beyond the arc. With A'ja Wilson averaging a staggering 23.8 points, 11.4 rebounds, and 2.6 blocks, her impact on both ends of the floor is the centerpiece of Becky Hammon's offensive and defensive schemes. On the other hand, the Lynx come in at 17-13, with Napheesa Collier having an MVP-caliber season of her own, posting 21.3 points, 10.1 rebounds, and 1.8 steals per contest. She's been the heart and soul of the team, but what makes Minnesota dangerous is the depth they've built behind her. Courtney Williams has been a key facilitator, with 5.7 assists per game, while Bridget Carlton and Alana Smith have given strong rotational minutes both offensively and defensively. Where this game starts to tilt into more complex territory is the clash of offensive systems. The Aces are more isolation-heavy, leaning on shot creators like Plum and Young to generate looks, especially in transition or out of broken plays. They average 18.9 transition points per game, first in the league. The Lynx, meanwhile, emphasize spacing, cuts, and high pick-and-roll sets that are not dependent on isolation. Their assist-to-turnover ratio is among the league's best, with an AST-TO ratio of 1.9, largely due to their commitment to swinging the ball and playing off penetration rather than forcing the issue. But against an Aces team that traps hard on screens and rotates quickly out of the corners, Minnesota will need to counter with smart short-roll decisions, weak-side shooting, and off-ball cuts that create second-side advantages. This is where Kayla McBride becomes crucial. Shooting 39.5% from 3 and averaging 13.4 points, her ability to hit shots from the wings and corners will be the X factor against the Aces' aggressive perimeter defense. Looking deeper into the advanced numbers, Las Vegas boasts a defensive rating of 98.7, second best in the WNBA. But their weakness lies in defending second-chance points and defensive rebounding. They allow 11.4 second-chance points per game, and their 31.6 defensive rebounding rate ranks just 8th in the league. This opens the door for Minnesota's active frontcourt to crash the boards. Collier and Smith combine for nearly 6.8 offensive boards per game, which can tilt momentum by extending possessions and drawing fouls on the Aces' bigs. If Wilson gets into early foul trouble or is forced to hedge higher on screens, the Lynx may be able to exploit the soft spots behind her, especially through dump-off passes and duck-ins by Dorka Juhas, who has shown flashes of brilliance against high-level competition. From a betting perspective, the line is expected to open with Las Vegas as 6.5-point favorites, with the total projected around 164.5. This number feels sharp, but bettors will want to dissect the pace factor. The Aces average 78.9 possessions per game, while the Lynx sit at 76.1. If Minnesota can dictate the tempo and drag the Aces into a half-court grind, the under becomes more appealing. Historically, games between these teams have skewed under the total in 3 of the last 4 matchups, with the average score totaling 158.6 points. One key trend: when the Aces are held under 42% shooting, they are just 1-6 ATS this season. That speaks to their reliance on offensive rhythm, and if Minnesota can break it with physical defense, timely doubles on Wilson, and smart zone switches, they may not just cover, they could steal the game outright. For prop bettors, there are several intriguing targets. Napheesa Collier's PRA points, rebounds, assists line will likely be set at 34.5, and this is a spot to lean over. In her last 5 games against top 4 defenses, she's averaging 25.1 points, 11.0 rebounds, and 4.2 assists, a total of 40.3 PRA. Her usage rate against elite competition actually increases by 6.3%, largely due to the coaching staff leaning on her in big moments. Another prop worth examining is Kayla McBride over 2.5 made threes. In her last 6 road games, she's attempted 6.4 threes per game, hitting at a 41% clip. Given the Aces' tendency to collapse on drives and help aggressively from the wings, McBride should get clean catch-and-shoot looks, especially if the Lynx successfully draw doubles. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson's over 9.5 rebounds should be considered as a strong play, despite Minnesota's rebounding tenacity. Wilson has recorded double-digit boards in 10 of her last 12 games, and her ability to clean the defensive glass is often what fuels Vegas' transition game. A correlated same-game parlay might be Wilson over 9.5 rebounds, Kelsey Plum over 1.5 made threes, and Aces ML, an SGP that could pay around plus 310 depending on the sportsbook. For longer shots, consider a parlay of McBride 3+3s, Collier 20+ points, and Lynx plus 6.5, which could yield north of plus 500 value if the game script leans toward a tight finish. In terms of defensive matchups, expect the Aces to start with Young on McBride, Plum on Williams, and Wilson shadowing Collier with occasional doubles coming from Alicia Clark. Chelsea Gray, if back from injury, provides elite point of attack defense, and her return would greatly enhance Las Vegas' ability to disrupt Minnesota's ball movement. On the flip side, Minnesota is likely to assign Carlton or Smith to trail Plum and deny her clean perimeter looks. The key question will be how the Lynx guard the pick-and-pop action involving Wilson. Drop coverage has gotten torched by Vegas all season, so Minnesota may show more switching with late hedges or utilize zone stints to throw off timing. Expect Cheryl Reeve to experiment with 2 to 3 looks in the second quarter and out of timeouts. Especially if Vegas starts hot. The momentum began to swing in the fourth quarter, but not in the way many expected. As the Aces rotated their starters back onto the floor, hoping to slam the door shut on the Lynx, Napheesa Collier refused to allow it. Her play elevated to another level, especially on the defensive end. She stepped into passing lanes, contested every A'ja Wilson drive with calculated footwork, and rebounded as if she was double her size. Collier's anticipation and timing were immaculate, reading Chelsea Gray's pick-and-roll manipulations like a seasoned point guard and making her presence felt in the paint. The Lynx's defense swarmed around Wilson, often throwing late doubles and rotating with near-perfect timing, which disrupted Las Vegas' rhythm. Kelsey Plum, who had carved the Lynx with dribble penetration earlier, suddenly found fewer open lanes. That's when the betting angle got razor sharp. Minnesota's team total under, which had been dicey for 3 quarters, now looked like it would go over due to their late push. The live total ticked upward, teasing over 164.5 with 6 minutes left. That's where the SGP parlay dreams either soared or collapsed. Those who took Lynx plus 10.5 with Collier 20 plus points, Wilson 10 plus rebounds, and over 158.5 total were suddenly watching the game not just as fans, but as tacticians. With every made basket, a domino fell on a bet slip somewhere. Diamond Miller, who had been largely quiet, picked the perfect moment to strike. Her 2 corner threes in a 90-second span flipped momentum and forced Becky Hammond to call time. The Aces' rotations weren't crisp, and Las Vegas found themselves unable to contain skip passes, especially when McBride and Miller were spaced correctly. McBride's veteran poise under pressure made a difference in more than just the scoring column. Her ability to slow down the pace during chaotic possessions, reset the half-court offense, and direct spacing was invaluable. These are moments where high IQ players separate themselves, and it's why betting her for 3+ assists and 3+ rebounds in SGP combos made sense despite lower season averages. It's about impact, not volume. Aces fans began to grow nervous. The odds live shifted to Aces minus 2.5, then even dropped to pick 'em after an 8-0 Lynx run. For bettors, this was prime hedge territory. A pregame Lynx plus 9.5 bettor could now lock in an Aces ML at slight plus money. The market was reacting to every possession like it was a playoff game, which, given the implications for playoff seeding, wasn't far from the truth. That's when Aja Wilson did what MVPs do. She steadied the team. She stopped settling for mid-range shots and instead barreled into the paint. One powerful post-up turned into an and-one. The next trip down, she drew a double and hit Alicia Clark in the corner for a 3. Wilson wasn't chasing stats. She was dictating the game on both ends. And for those who had her 25+ points and 10+ rebounds in parlays, the sighs of relief came as she crossed those thresholds with just over 2 minutes remaining. Let's talk betting props again. The Wilson-Collier rivalry continues to be one of the league's most profitable in stat-based betting. Their usage spikes when facing each other. Collier, seeing Wilson on the other end, becomes more aggressive offensively, more assertive in the post. Her usual pass-first tendencies give way to shot creation. This game was no different. Collier hit the over on her points line with 5 minutes to go, rewarding those who bought the number early at 17.5 rather than chasing it at 19.5. Meanwhile, Jackie Young quietly pieced together a stat-stuffing night. Not gaudy, but efficient. Her points plus assists prop sat around 19.5 pregame, and she closed with a the 4th of May 13 line that just barely got there. It's why betting the combo markets instead of single stats often pays off in games with uncertain paces or defensive matchups. As the game entered its final moments, the Aces' experience in crunch time surfaced. Their late game sets, focused on getting Wilson touches at the elbow, proved difficult for Minnesota to stop without overcommitting. A late dagger 3 from Kelsey Plum, her 4th of the night, pushed the lead back to 6 and deflated the Lynx's comeback hopes. But make no mistake, the Lynx had covered. They had battled, and for bettors who trusted the spread, the payout hit even in defeat. Let's dive deeper into the prop structure that carried value all game long. Rebounds were skewed due to shot variance early, but ultimately, Wilson and Collier both hitting double digits was predictable due to their high floor in minutes and involvement in both ends. A smart SGP included 8+ rebounds each for Collier and Wilson. For scoring props, McBride's 15+ points was priced near plus 125 depending on the book, and she delivered it with efficient shooting, especially from deep. The under was live until the 3rd, then exploded into an over thanks to the frenetic pace in the 4th. For bettors who middled the total, taking under 166.5 pregame and then jumping over 158.5 live. It was a rare window of profitability made possible only by extreme swings in momentum. For same-game parlays, here's the structure that hit for many. Lynx plus 9.5, Wilson 25 plus, Collier 20 plus, McBride 2 plus 3s, Plum 3 plus 3s, and over 162.5 total points. That combo returned 12x to 18x depending on timing. The key was trusting volume and matchup-based variance. From a coaching perspective, Cheryl Reeve deserves praise. Her defensive adjustments, particularly denying Plum the left side pull-up and showing late doubles at Wilson, stalled the Aces for long stretches. Offensively, Minnesota didn't rely solely on Collier. Instead, they exploited matchup weaknesses. They ran double off-ball screens to free McBride, used horn sets to open up driving lanes for Miller, and placed Dorka Juhas in the dunker spot to neutralize weak side help. On the flip side, the Aces adjusted with championship poise. Hammond restructured their half-court attack, shifting Wilson further out to initiate elbow actions and letting Chelsea Gray act as a secondary driver. These nuanced changes not only stabilized the offense but forced the Lynx into mismatches they couldn't hide. When Young found herself guarded by Juhas on a switch, the Aces knew it was time to attack. The final score reflected a classic WNBA heavyweight battle: Aces 87, Lynx 81. The spread, Aces minus 8.5, barely missed. The total, set at 164.5, went over. Star props like Wilson and Collier hit easily. Threes came in waves late, pushing combo markets over the top. For sharp bettors who grabbed early lines, this was a profitable outing. For fans, it was a classic reminder that these two teams may meet again when it matters most. What's next? The Lynx are still finding themselves but are far more dangerous than the public or books suggest. Their depth is young but growing. Their coaching staff makes real-time adjustments. And if they can tighten turnovers and rebounding, they'll be a nightmare in a 5-game playoff series. Meanwhile, the Aces showed both vulnerability and greatness, sometimes in the same possession. Their path to a repeat goes through health, consistent spacing, and embracing the grind of opponents who want nothing more than to dethrone them. This was more than a game. It was a betting puzzle, a tactical duel, a star-driven showcase, and most importantly, a statement from both sides that they'll be in the conversation come playoff time. In the world of sports betting, few things are more satisfying than watching the exact vision you handicapped play out on the court in real time. And that's what made this one special. If this breakdown just lit a fire in your betting brain, don't walk away. Smash that like button if you want more WNBA intel deeper than the box score. Drop your SGP picks and final score predictions in the comments. Let's build a winning ticket together. And if you're serious about outsmarting the oddsmakers this summer, hit that subscribe button now and join our inner circle. We've got breakdowns that books don't want you to see, picks that swing the public, and strategies that actually win over time. This isn't luck, it's the grind. This isn't hype, it's analysis. This isn't just another channel. This is beyond the box score.